Good morning, students. I am going to deliver a lecture on the basic principles of the metal casting process. Casting is basically a process where molten metal is actually poured into a metallic mold. Um, After pouring the liquid metal starts solidifying in the metallic mold and becomes and attains the solid state. It is actually the phase transformation from liquid phase to solid phase. After cooling process, the mold is actually broken and the casting is actually taken out. This is actually called as the basic metal casting process, one of the oldest manufacturing technologies. Three important considerations in the metal casting process. The first one is how the metal actually cools and gets solidified in the metallic mold. And the second consideration is how the metal mold flows into the mold cavity. The passage of the metal flow in the mold cavity is very important to reduce the turbulence and aspiration of gases inside the solidifying metal. The third important consideration is how the mold influences the metal. Okay. So let us discuss about the basics of solidification of metals. The concept behind the solidification of metals and alloys are different. In the case of the pure metals, the metal solidifies at constant temperature. Okay, so pure metals have very well defined melting point, or otherwise called as the freezing point, and solidifies at a specific temperature. And pure metals have a more uniform grain structure. That is actually they have the columnar grain structure and growth. So solidification of metals actually it has got the columnar grains of pure metal and cast structure of solid solution is shown in the figure. Normally what happens is that when you transform the liquid into the metallic mold, in the case of the pure metals, it forms a columnar grains. Okay, and if you go for the liquid alloy system, there will be a messy zone always. That is, messy zone means the solid liquid interface zone. Initially, when you pour the liquid alloy inside a metallic mold, initially what happens is the metal with the liquid alloy, which is actually very close to the metallic mold, forms small crystals initially. Then after that it forms the columnar grains. Then at the center it produces the equiaxed grain structure, and also a pipe will be there. And alloy solidification begins at some temperature T1, that is the liquidus temperature, and it's not completed until it reaches the solidified temperature, which is defined as Ts. Okay, there will be a zone which is actually called as a messy zone, which is actually a mixture of liquid and solid phase. And the effects of the cooling rate and also the alloy actually changes. The faster the cooling rate, the finer the grains actually produced. If the cooling rate is very low, it produces coarse grains inside the system. So let us illustrate the alloy solidification and temperature distribution. You can see from this picture that the pure metal actually solidifies at constant temperature. And if you take the alloy system solidification, the solidification actually takes place at varying temperature. And as I told you that the fluid flow is actually inside the passage of the cavity is very important in the mold, the metallic mold or the sand mold. The fluid flow of the molten metal is extremely important in casting process. Now the liquid metal has to flow through the system. Actually, if you take the sand molding process, there will be the whole passage of the cavity is actually called as the gating system. So initially you will be having a pouring basin, and you will be having the cavity of the mold, and as well as you will be having the sprues, runner bars and in gates. So these are the various components present in the gating system. You cannot pour directly the liquid metal into the cavity, because it produces enormous amount of turbulence and aspiration of the gases. So to avoid the defects formation, the passage is actually produced made inside the cavity, and according to the basic design principles of the gating system. So the fluid flow is actually based on the Bernoulli's theorem. It should not produce turbulence. That is the basic fundamental idea. And the fluid behaves by reducing the pressure, velocity and elevation of the fluid at any location within the system, and mass continuity law is actually followed here. And the design, the whole design of the gating system is actually considered as an important process. And also the flow characteristics actually says that if the turbulence is actually more observed in the flow process, there will be more aspiration of gases, and the dissolvement of the gases into the liquid is very high, which produces porosity and other serious defects. So the fluidity of any liquid metal after the melting process actually depends on several process parameters are variables like viscosity, surface tension, inclusions, and solidification pattern actually. So the higher the value of the viscosity, the flow of the liquid flow will be lower. And mold materials and surfaces. So the mold design influences the fluid travels through the mold. How it actually design inside the cavity, it actually influences the fluid flow of the liquid metal inside. So if you take any liquid alloy, it has got a melting point, and always you have to superheat the liquid alloy temperature before pouring. So which is actually necessity. And also the rate of pouring is also considered as an important parameter here. Next is actually the very important thing is the heat transfer process that takes place inside the metal casting process. So the heat dissipation, if you take a sand mold, the sand mold actually is made from the green sand mixer, molding sand mixer. Obviously it will have very low thermal conductivity, and the heat dissipation, the heat transfer rate is very poor. That's why it forms coarse grind structure inside the castings. So to avoid that and to enhance the heat transfer rate, heat dissipation process, we have to go for the metallic mold. The metallic mold has a very high thermal conductivity. When you pour the liquid metal inside the mold cavity, metallic mold cavity, it actually dissipates the heat at a very fast rate because of the very high thermal conductivity. Therein it produces very fine grinds, which is actually quoted to the superior mechanical properties of the castings. So there are a lot of defects actually observed in metal casting process during the casting, after the castings are taken out. So there are the important things. One is the metal projections, cavities, discontinuous and defective surfaces. So it is actually the metal projection is nothing but a flash or a protrusion, and cavities actually you can see the blowholes and the pinhole porosity, all these things. Pinhole porosity is normally caused because of the excessive moisture present in the green sand mold mixture. The moisture, excessive moisture present in the green sand mold actually causes porosity, pinhole porosity, the surface porosity. And the internal porosity is caused by the evaluation of the gases when you pour the liquid metal inside the metallic mold and the green sand mold, which actually evolves the gases during the solidification process, which causes internal porosity. So those defects can be identified by non-destructive testing methods. And incomplete casting is actually the improper flow of the liquid inside the cavity or the passage. So due to the drop in temperature, it actually stops. The flow gets stopped, and it is actually called as pour shed. And incorrect dimensions or shapes because of the improper elements or patching mountain errors that is caused. Inclusions, actually the non-metallic inclusions which are actually present due to the improper filtering of the liquid metal or the alloy system during pouring process. The inclusions actually get trapped inside that, which actually destroys the properties. So if you take the porosity, it can be caused by shrinkage porosity or gas porosity, as I explained earlier. And okay, next is actually I would like to explain about the different types of metal casting processes. There are lot of metal casting processes. One is actually called as the green sand molding process, the basic one, and the metallic mold process, which is actually you can recycle and reuse many times. You can produce more number of castings simultaneously without destroying the mold. So expandable and permanent mold process. Let us discuss about the application advantages and limitations of the process, and casting of single crystals, and inspection techniques and foundries and their automation. So the important concept nowadays is actually in modern foundries, mechanization and automation level lead to significant changes in reducing the scrap and reducing the labor and the equipments. So this also produces the high quality castings with close dimensional tolerances. So now the major categories of the casting practices. One is actually the expandable mold, normally the green sand mold, which is actually destroyed after the casting process. You cannot reuse that mold. And the second is actually permanent mold, is a metallic mold, which you can reuse the mold many times after taking out the castings. And composite molds is another type of mold, which is actually expandable and permanent positions. Okay. Then the sand casting process actually explained now here. The process is a very simple process and normally used to make big castings in the industries. The basic thing, casting process consists of placing a pattern in the sand to make the impression, the replica of the casting. The second one is actually incorporating or designing and fixing the gating system, the flow passages like risering, gating, other things, and removing the pattern and filling the mold cavity with the mold metal. And then after that, allowing the mold metal to get solidified and breaking the sand mold, and finally removing the casting process. So the different types of sand casting process are actually explained. The green sand molding process, what I explained to you now. Now you can see the internal cavity, the whole green sand molding process system is actually explained in the diagram here. You can see that the two parts of the mold box, which is actually called as the cope. The top one is actually as the cope, and the bottom one is actually the drag. So now you can see the whole cavity here, and the core sand is actually placed here to form the cavity of the casting, and this is actually the open riser, and this is the pouring basin. You can see the pouring basin through which the liquid metal is actually at a particular superheated temperature is poured inside it, and after that it is actually flowing through the casting, through the cavity, through the runner bar and extension, and finally there is an open riser. So the open riser is the last portion to get to be solidified, so that it confirms that the complete filling of the mold cavity. And patterns are of different types. So there are different types of patterns, which is actually a single piece pattern or split type pattern, and all these different types of patterns are available. And this is actually the sand molding machines. So next we go to the precision casting process. What is going to be precision casting process? The casting which is produced from the precision casting process is very accurate, and we will get the accurate dimensions. Here I would like to explain more about the investment casting process now. Okay, so now I want to explain about the evaporative casting process, which is actually called as the last form process. So the mold produced for every casting, we here use a polystyrene pattern, which actually evaporates upon contact with the molten liquid metal. So what we do is we will have a flask-like system. Inside we will pour the loose sand or the new sand without adding any binders, and inside that we will put the polystyrene bead pattern, and finally we will pour the liquid metal on the surface of it, so that it vaporizes and forms the casting. So next process actually called the investment casting process. So we will have wax, and we will inject the liquid wax into the metallic mold of the particular cavity, and the wax gets solidified. We take the wax pattern by removing the metal split mold. After that, the wax is actually joined and made as a pattern, complete pattern, and then we put it inside the flask, and then we pour the stockifying mixer, and after that it is actually cooled to a particular temperature, and finally we get the mold, and then we put inside the flask, and then the loose sand is actually spreaded and covered. Then we will pour the liquid metal to get the casting process. Okay. So next is actually the common and routine process, which is actually called as the permanent mold casting process. What do you mean by permanent mold casting process? The permanent mold casting process is actually not sand mold process. It is actually made up of metallic mold parts. So what we do is two halves of the mold, metallic mold, made from different materials with high resistance to erosion and corrosion, and as well as thermal fatigue. For example, the molds are made from iron, steel and graphite commonly, and we can produce castings ranging from 1 kilogram to 300 kilogram, and in huge amounts. So here in the permanent mold casting process actually produces the castings of better surface quality, porosity and complex shapes, and with a very high dimensional accuracy is actually observed, and good to average cost for equipment and labor, and then can produce 5 to 50 parts per mold hour. And we have another process actually called as the vacuum casting process. Vacuum casting process actually involves a vacuum system in which the gases from outside are not allowed to enter inside the casting process to avoid the porosity and other. For example, if you want to make magnesium casting, magnesium is a very highly volatile metal, and when it vaporizes very fast, so that to cast light metals and alloy systems like magnesium or aluminum magnesium alloys, we want to go for the vacuum casting system, which is actually helpful for reducing the gases, and mostly it is actually used to make aerospace aircraft components. And the permanent mold die casting process actually consists of two types of methods. One is actually called as the hot chamber method and the cold chamber method. You can see the picture here. In the case of the hot chamber process, what they will do is they will have a gooseneck system in which the liquid is actually melted inside the chamber itself, and then it is transferred directly to the mold cavities. In the case of the cold chamber process, the melting furnace will be outside, and the melting furnace is actually is placed outside, and from that the liquid metal is actually transferred to the whole system. That system is actually called as the cold chamber process. And there is another process actually called as centrifugal casting system. Actually, in the case of the centrifugal casting system, the mold is actually rotating at a particular speed so that you can make large spun pipes, cast iron spun pipes for drainage applications. So the next process is actually called as the squeeze casting process. Squeeze casting process is nothing but the metered quantity of the liquid metal is transferred into the mold cavity, and sufficient amount of pressure is actually applied until it gets completely solidified. But in the case of the permanent mold system, the liquid metal is actually forced into the die cavity, and immediately the pressure is actually released. So the pressure is actually not applied till it gets completely solidified in the case of the permanent mold die casting system, pressure die casting system. So that is the difference. What happens is, in the squeeze casting process, the liquid metal is actually is pressurized until it gets completely solidified. That is the reason the defects are actually very minimal and is completely eliminated, because the porosity, that is the gas cavities actually which are formed during the process, it's actually further the liquid metal is actually allowed to get inside the cavity, and then it completely gets locked. So advantages of the permanent mold cast system, semi-solid state forming process. Actually parts are homogeneous with high stress. That is, homogeneous means the internal grinds are actually very similar in size, and will have very high strength, and thin and thick parts are actually produced. And then the disadvantage is actually that the very high die cost is actually very problem, and quality assurance inspections actually conducted in the case of the casting process. Normally, non-destructive testing, the entity is actually considered for testing of the castings, because no one want to destroy the casting which is actually processed. So entity is actually visual and optical inspection, and then destructive testing is actually not conducted much, and the basic entity method which is actually used for the casting testing is actually entity, ultrasonic inspection method, and the radiographic method, okay, to find out the porosity location. And the melting practice in the foundries is actually very important. The industries, the foundry industries uses cupola furnace, electric arc melting furnace, and induction furnace. These are three important furnaces which are commonly used in the industries: electric arc furnace, induction furnace, and crucible furnace, and cupolas. And the cupola furnace is normally used to melt cast iron, and the induction furnace is actually used to melt aluminum alloys and magnesium alloys and copper alloys, as well as steel. Foundries and foundry automation, what I told you about nowadays, the labors are actually get reduced because of the automation in the foundries. So automation of the operations are now considered as very important. Automation varies from foundry to foundry depending on what extent they require. The important advantages of foundry automation are: number one is you can reduce the labor, you can produce the high quality casting without any defects, and more number of castings can be produced at a very faster rate, and पीछे शूट के दाब के